Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Sunday morning, the 7th of May, and I went to group yesterday. I got a fair result. I'm actually happy with my result. I'm going to tell you what I did to achieve it, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do next week. So firstly, I had 2 A choices and 2 B choices every day this week, and my average for sins was 10 per day. That's what I consider like bang on the top part of my plan. That's as far as I'm prepared to go to be comfortable, and I did that this week. The only thing I chose to do off plan, and it was a conscious decision, was to go out for lunch with a friend on Wednesday, and we went to Bill's. Now, I'm a great fan of Saucony Jolie, and I guess a lot of you watch them too. Jonathan regularly goes to Bill's and has something called a fish finger sandwich, and it's made my mouth water for months. So I decided on Wednesday I would have a Bill's fish finger sandwich. I ordered it without the fries because I'm not bothered about chips, and I ordered it without butter, but the young lady assured me it didn't come with butter anyway, so that was fine. It actually was 2 toasted slices of wholemeal bread with, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 fish fingers, I'm guessing 4 in there, with leaves, plenty of leaves for speed, and tomato ketchup. And then on the side it had a little dish of tartar sauce, which I probably used half of. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really tasty. I'm not saying I'd race back to have it again, but it's one of those things in life that if you fancy trying it, I would say it's worth it. Don't know how much it was, I didn't pay the bill. However, it was 694 calories, because Joe's just looked it up, just for the sandwich. If I'd had the fries as well, that would have been another 394 calories. So I'm glad I didn't, because the result I got this week with having that one meal, and only that one meal off plan, was a £2 gain. Now, I'm not shocked or surprised by that, because I know the way my body works if I eat bread. And of course, wholemeal bread plus breaded fish fingers. I'm on line for fluid retention if I do that kind of thing. And the reason I'm confident that it's fluid retention is because I know you have to eat a surplus of 3,500 calories in a week to gain a pound of fat. Well, I haven't done that, so I'm confident that what I've got is fluid retention. I'm also comfortable because I've got to learn to accept gains. I cannot keep losing weight every week. I am around the weight I want to be. Yesterday I weighed in at 9 stone, 9 stone 8.5 pounds, which is fine. That is 5.5 pounds under target for me. Comfortable place to be, and yeah, but a £2 gain, it is still, even though I'm a target member, a gain is still a negative feeling in my head. And I know I've got to let go of that, and I'm not sure whether or when I will be able to. So although I'm happy with the result, I'm confident and comfortable where I am, it's a very strange feeling to get on the scales and have somebody say you've gained £2 and not feel any reaction at all. My initial reaction was, oh my God, I must get those £2 off next week, which is a joke because I don't need to get those £2 off next week. I sit with another lady who's at Target, and we were talking about, well, there's 3 of us actually who sit in a row. One lady had a maintain after having a gain last week, but she's still half a pound under target. The lady on my other side got a maintain for about the 10th week in a row, and she is bang on target. And she told me yesterday 6 more weeks and I've been at target for 2 years. That's brilliant. And we were talking about this, and I said, you know, I think if I got a maintain week after week after week after week after week, I'd get bored, because I need a bit of drama in my life. And if that drama is a gain or a loss, I think I'd rather go up and down, half a pound, vice versa, than be stuck at maintain every week. I'm not good at routine things like that. That would factor boredom into my life. Then I might go and do something really daft. But anyway, that was my result. And this week going forward, 1 or 2 A choices, 1 or 2 B choices, and 5 to 10 sins. And that's the way I need to do it every week. I can't be messing around. I was saying to Joe last night, I could cut my A and B choices. I could cut my sins. And he just went, oh, grow up, woman. He's used to me. He knows.
The maintain train has arrived at deprivation station.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying.
That was when he came in from work last night, and I was telling him all this because he'd been out all day. And I said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And he went, oh yeah, the maintain train has arrived at deprivation station. And he's right, and I know
And you started talking to me about like making tiny little speed meals and using cod, and you hate cod.
I said we've got some cod in the freezer, and I actually had a vegetable and butterbean curry in the slow cooker, and I was like, I could have smaller portions of curry.
I could split this into 5.
Yeah, and I would usually split the whole slow cooker, the whole big slow cooker for me would usually be 3 meals. And I was like, I could split this into 5 and put a piece of steamed cod with each one. Oh dear, does he take the piss out of me or what? But he really did last night. He's like, oh, for God's sake, woman, who talks about a lifestyle and not being on a diet anymore? You know? But it just shows you how easy it is for your brain to tip one way or the other. Had an interesting conversation with Olive Benson on my down bar bit last week, and we were talking about, you know, the word diet. And there are times, I still firmly believe, there are times when we have to fall back into more of a diet mentality to recover from something like a holiday or an unexpected gain. But what I've learned and shown from my own experience last night is you've got to be very careful around those. I have to be very careful around that, because if I start doing that, and I know from experience, if I start cutting back too far, up in the walking, let's get more exercise in, Joe, let's march up those hills. I start doing that, I start cutting my food back, I know exactly what will happen to me. I'll get another gain next week, because that's the way my body reacts to deprivation. It stores fat. So I can't go down that route. I've just got to live this lifestyle, carry on, doing what I'm doing, see where it gets me next week.
I think maybe the hard thing for you this week is that you don't feel you deserve. You got the weight result you deserve.
Well, I obviously did get the weight result I deserved because it was from my own actions. But I've actually walked 31.23 miles, which is up again. But I am a firm believer in saying you cannot out-exercise. Let me get it right. Got the wrong teeth in today, I think. You cannot out-exercise the wrong food plan. So for me, you know, having that fish finger sandwich at Bill's and enjoying it, I can't walk that off. Because if I fall into that mentality, then I know what I'm capable of. The exercise will keep going up and up and up. And then where do I go? Because there's going to be a time when I can't do that level of exercise and the food is going to catch up with me, and bang, that'll be a week when I get another gain. So for me, it's all about moderation and consistency. They're becoming my key words. My food needs to stay in that place, 1A or 2A's, 1B or 2B's, 5 to 10 sins. I've got to continue with that week after week after week because that is my lifestyle. So yeah, good result this week. Didn't do me any harm at all. I am still well under target. And hey ho. Katie Jane used a really good phrase. I was watching Katie Jane this morning when I was having breakfast, and she said about, you know, taking your foot off the gas. I'm not going to relate to what Katie was saying because watch Katie's vlog, it's worth watching. But she's right. And I know that where I am in my life and where I am in my weight loss journey, I cannot afford to take my foot off that gas pedal. And nor do I want to, in all honesty. Nor do I want to. So, group this week. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? It's fabulous. Brilliant. Really good weight loss between all of us. Some more new members. Some people having their first week's results and getting really good losses. And one really, really interesting thing that came out of it. A couple of new ladies, been with us about a fortnight. When we were going around doing image therapy, we always have a talk on a topic first and then we do image therapy. And believe me, our groups are big. I think there was 180 people went through the 2 groups yesterday. So it's not like with half a dozen people and loads of time to chat, but We always are given good information. When we were talking yesterday, something that came up from the newer members, these two ladies, was the fact that Slimming World encourages you to count one sin for 20 calories. And Naomi said, for what in particular? And, well, you know, if you can't be bothered to look up a sin value, or you don't have your app with you or whatever, just count one sin for 20 calories. And so Naomi said, did I tell you that at the newcomers talk? No. You know, have we ever said, well, they haven't been around long, but to the rest of the group, have we ever discussed this in group? And the only time we have ever discussed it in group is when we've been told don't do it. It's not something we do in our group. So of course these were new ladies and they hadn't heard us talking about this before, but Naomi said, and she's so sweet, she says it in such a nice way, it's not the best way forward to safeguard or achieve a weight loss. Don't do it. So we then agree as a group, there are things we do and there's things we don't do, and we agree as a group we don't use that principle in our group because it is not 100% Slimming World. Like the 777 challenge and the different things that we choose to do, as adults and as individuals we can choose to do those things, but we must not put the Slimming World name on them because they're not Slimming World principles. There's nothing wrong with doing them if you're doing it for your weight loss, but if I choose not to do it because I want to safeguard my weight loss, that's fine too. What we must remember is you've got to look at what works for you. I have to look at what works for me. Pardon me, I've eaten breakfast and it's unusual for me to do this after eating. I was just saying to Joe, out of curiosity, let's look at one or two things that I eat that I could just pick up and say, well, I can't use the app, let me just work it out quickly. How many sins is this? Now, my little pack of sushi that I showed last week, which I adore, and I eat a couple of those regularly, is how many calories, Joe?
125.
Right? So that would be 6.5 sins, yeah? It's 1. So if I was a newcomer sitting in a meeting listening to people say, if you're really stuck, just count 20 calories as 1 sin. I then went into Waitrose to get something for my lunch. I think that's 125 calories. That's not a bad calorie value. 6.5 sins, I can have that on plan. It's not 6.5 sins, it's 1. So we're robbing ourselves on those occasions. The other sushi that I really adore, the Taiko rolls.
Yeah, the tuna wrap.
The tuna wrap ones, how many calories?
291.
So that would be 15 if you were doing the 20 calories per sin rule. It's actually 4 sins. So I could, if I adhered to that rule, be robbing myself. The yoghurt that I eat, a 500 gram tub of Fage, say Fage? Phage?
Fage.
Fage. 2% fat is how many calories, Joe?
365.
So if you think about it, that's 28 sins. It's 3. I think what I'm just trying to do is to say to people, just think about it logically. If it's got calorie value and nutritional information on it, use the sin calculator. Because that 20 calorie rule does not apply to very many things. And in the situation where you could pick up a biscuit and say this is 42 calories, it's 2 sins. If you want to risk that, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. But as a group, we don't do it that way anymore. We don't use that because it's not a Slimming World principle. And I'm not saying you're wrong if you do, but sometimes you could be robbing yourself. Yeah. So that was one of the interesting things that came out of group yesterday. One lady in my group, well, we had a thing in group yesterday, stick to plan every day in May to lose weight, and one lady who's a Target member did what I did the other week, and she went back to basics, she stuck to her normal plan because she always does it well anyway. She's been at Target for years. She had 15 sins a day, 1A, 1B, and did it religiously, for want of a better word. She got a £0.5 gain, and she was gobsmacked. But as I said, that happened to me, didn't it, a couple of weeks ago? Got a gain from sticking to exact plan. Just shows you there are different times in your journey where your plan has to adapt. Slimming World do actively say, and I think it's in the new journal that's coming out, if you want a really good weight loss, try 10 sins a day. Because it's been my experience that having been on this journey for 2 years yesterday, 2 years today by the date, I cannot do it the same way today as I could 2 years ago. I have to be, I'm not going to say stricter with myself, because strict is a word that I don't sit comfortably with, but I do have to be, let's say, more on plan. I'm more in tune with my body. I cannot eat the way I used to eat, and not just lose weight, but I cannot eat the way I used to eat and keep the weight off.
That ties into one of the headings we've got. It says, being flexible whilst being on plan. Don't write things in stone.
Yeah. I am learning, and I'm now, 17 months at Target. I am learning that I have to be flexible, but I have to be flexible within boundaries. I cannot just willy-nilly take a meal off here, a meal off there. I can't do it. Now, other people at Plan might find they can. I can only tell you about my experiences, what happens to my body. But I know that if I don't follow this plan to the letter, and I'm comfortable doing that, but if I don't do it, I am going to gain weight. And I'm grown up enough now to accept that. I never used to be. I used to think, well, just get to where you want to be and then do what you like. Can't do that anymore. So, something I'd said last week that I was going to talk about, and it doesn't need a lot of talking about, because to me it just makes sense in a very simple way, is the difference between diet and lifestyle. And I think the first thing I've written down is, when is a diet not a diet? When I first came to Slimming World, I came to Slimming World to lose weight. I didn't come to Slimming World for a social club or a coffee morning. I came because I needed to lose weight. I was willing to work at it, and I wanted to lose weight. And I have never yet met a person, male or female, who has joined Slimming World for any other reason. It's a weight loss plan. So you could call it a diet. It's just, we use the word diet in this country to signify that we're on a weight loss journey. So I came to Slimming World 2 years ago today, and I came to lose weight. I came in at 13 stone 8, and I wanted to lose probably 3.5 stone at that stage. I acknowledged the fact that I was embarking on a diet, a way of eating that meant I took fewer calories in than I expended, and I expected that by doing that I would achieve a weight loss, and I did. Now, the rules for joining Slimming World are that you have to have at least 7 pounds to lose. You can join with a half stone to lose. I think that's a good rule, because people may be in that situation and only have 7 pounds to lose. They have a right to be there. Most of us, I think, have come in with substantially more than that to lose. But as I said, I've never met anybody who's ever come to Slimming World to stay where they are or to gain weight. So inevitably it's a diet. So we come in and we start this journey, and we learn to eat differently. And I've done this diet so many times over the years where I wasn't prepared to learn to eat differently. And the inevitable consequence of those actions was I never did get to Target. I never got anywhere near Target. And I used to go up and down like a yo-yo. So I might lose 2 stone, gain 3. Then the next time I joined, I might lose 4 stone and gain 6. But I never ever went down and stayed down, because I wasn't willing to change my habits. So when I came in this time, the reason I knew I was coming in at a different place was because I decided on the Monday prior to the Saturday meeting that I was going to do Slimming World. And I didn't do the one thing that I'd always done before. I didn't go on a 5-day binge to get the weight up as far as I could so I could have a big loss in the first week. Or, the expression I used to often use was, I need to get this out of my system. I need to get all this eating out of my system. I tell you something now, I'm 60 years old, and that will never get out of my system, because it's something I could do today if I let myself. I don't think you ever get over that kind of stuff. You just learn not to let it control you. So I know today that if I wanted to, truly wanted to, I could take the day off plan. I know today that if I wanted to, if I truly wanted to, I could have one hell of a binge. The only reason I'm not doing those things is because I'm choosing not to. It doesn't go away. I don't believe those things ever go away. They sit more comfortably, you have the authority over them, whatever, but there's always going to be a crack, and there's always going to be a choice. So for today, I choose not to do it. So I joined Slimming World on the Saturday after eating normally all week. First time I'd ever done that, because I always used to join Slimming World on a given day of the week, usually an evening meeting, when I had stuffed my face for at least a week before I went, because I used to think, I'm going to do this, doesn't matter what I weigh at my first weigh-in. The more I weigh at my first weigh-in, and because I've only just put it on, the bigger loss I'm going to get in the first week. And I believe that happens. I just don't believe it's the wisest way to go today. So I joined in a different place this time. I joined with a willingness to change. And looking back on my journey, so I joined in the May, so June, July, August, September, October, November, 7 months to get to target, literally 7 months to get to target, with a loss of like 3.5 stone at that point. I had 1 or 2 small gains along the way, which are inevitable, because of the way our bodies work. But I wanted it to be a lifestyle. I can honestly say, looking back, all the times I did it before, I never even understood in my own mind what it becoming a lifestyle actually meant to me, let alone to anybody else. But what I discovered along the way is that when I've done this for long enough for it to become my normal way of eating, it becomes my normal lifestyle. I think I wrote it down probably in better words than that, Joe. What did I actually write down?
When you have done it for long enough that it becomes your way of life and therefore your lifestyle.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
So
I've been doing this.
Even thinking about it.
Yeah, I've been doing this now for 2 years. I haven't taken any major time off. I've taken off meals, 1 meal here and there. You know, my birthday meal, Christmas lunch, a couple of Christmas lunches, a couple of birthday meals, 1 or 2 meals out with friends on special occasions. Things like my fish finger sandwich at Bill's, that to me is a meal off plan. 1 meal out of 21. And I am maintaining target. I've learnt today that I cannot just say, oh, it's Easter next week, I'm going to have Easter off, because I wouldn't know when to stop. Once I opened those floodgates, and I don't ever want to get into that place where I'm thinking, oh God, how can I get back on it? That puts the fear of God in me. I'm not going to put myself there because I'm not going to risk not being able to get back on it. That's how passionate I feel about it today. Why come off it? This is a better way of living, a better way of eating than I've ever known in my life. And I don't feel deprived, and there's nothing I can't have. I can plan anything into my food plan. One of the questions Naomi asked in group yesterday, and it's just come back to me, is, okay, there was about 70 people in front of her. Okay, somebody please tell me a situation in which you could not food optimise. We all sat there like a load of dummies. And we're not usually shy. We're not the sort who are shy at coming forward. Nobody said a word. I mean, was it that we couldn't think of a situation, or was it that we don't really understand food optimising? I think most of us understand food optimising. Maybe the newcomers, it's a bit early days yet. But she said, come on, just one situation. And she said, okay, I'll stand in front of you. I live this lifestyle. The only situation I find myself in where I cannot food optimise is when we go out for afternoon tea. And you're faced with a platter of sandwiches, a nice stand full of cakes and cupcakes and what have you, jam and cream scones and things like that. You cannot food optimise that meal. But that is 1 meal off plan. And she said, I can do that. I can take my elderly father out for afternoon tea, or my elderly mother-in-law out for afternoon tea, or I can meet the girls for afternoon tea, and I can take that 1 meal off plan. And I can lose weight that week. The danger is when we say, oh, it's Christmas. I know it's not Christmas next Sunday, I'm not that stupid, but it's Christmas next Sunday. So do I come off plan on Christmas Eve? Well, what about if I came off plan the night before Christmas Eve, so I could have the whole of Christmas Eve, the whole of Christmas Day, the whole of Boxing Day off plan, and I'll get back onto it on Tuesday morning. So you end up having from Friday night to Tuesday morning off plan. Can you guarantee that on Tuesday morning you could pick up the threads and get back on plan? Because I couldn't. I could not promise, hand on heart, that I would be able to do that. And I've watched so many people who've thought they could, but then not been able to. So for me today, because I love the place I'm living, because I love the food I eat, I've no intention of coming off. And I think, and this is only my interpretation and my understanding, that when I moved from being on a diet to this becoming my lifestyle was the day when I stopped thinking about needing to take days off it or feeling like I needed to take days off it. And it's almost like turning a corner. What it feels like is like, say I wanted to drive from my house to York, right? I'd head north and I'd get on the A1 and I'd keep going north until I got to the York Ring Road near Tadcaster. If I start to deviate and I turn left when I get to Blythe and then I go round by a workshop and then over to Doncaster and then back by the M18 onto the A1 and then up a bit further and I come off at Pontefract and then Went Bridge and all these places, my journey is going to take me a long way round to York. If I get on the A1 by Clumber Park and keep going north, straight up, stay on that path, it's simple, it's comfortable. Simple's the word I'm looking for. It's not easy. This plan is never easy. It's simple. It's when I continually want to deviate, or I'm thinking about deviating, or I'm actually deviating, that I'm making the journey harder for myself. And I cannot live for the rest of my life keep coming off that motorway. So for me, my lifestyle is sticking to that main drag. Keep going, just keep going. Because the times I come off, how the hell do I know I'm going to be able to find the little B road to get me back on again? And I tell you, I shudder when I think about it. I'm not going to risk that. I'm not going to risk it. So.
Oh, show your fidget spinner.
Oh yeah.
That's always there.
One of the things I struggle with, because I read audiobooks, so I don't actually have a physical book in my hand to keep turning the page. And when my hands are idle, my brain wanders. And Joe bought me something this week, and these are a bit fashionable around here with young people at the moment. They're called fidget spinner.
Yeah.
It's just something to do with your hands. And I learned that if you do it like this, you can keep it going. I kept it going for ages last night. I thought, oh, I've learned something new already. But just having something as daft as this little metal spinner in my hands, keeping my fingers busy, it also creates a nice draft on a hot morning. But something to keep my fingers busy. Now, it may be that you knit or you crochet or adult colouring, things like that. I probably would enjoy adult colouring if I could see, because I like precise little tiny bitty things. Or I might enjoy jewellery making and things like that. But as a blind person, my choices are sometimes a bit limited. I need something to do with my hands. I eat between 8 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock at night. The rest of the time, I do this. No, I don't. I'm not that sad. I don't do this all the time. Yeah. I walk and I have a cleaner, tidier house than I've ever had. And I am active, and I am positive, and I am enthusiastic, and it's all because of this plan. I wouldn't be any of these things. I'd be sitting here like a fat, miserable cow, because I know that's what I used to be like, isn't it, Joe?
Well, I don't want to say that.
Well, it's true. I used to be always depressed, always lethargic, always in pain, aching bones, aching joints, always miserable. I was a first-class miserable person. So there you are. That's been my week on plan. That's been the results I got, and I'm still 100% happy with it. So I'm going forward with my usual 1 or 2 A's, 1 or 2 B's, 5 to 10 sins, and a moderate amount of walking if it gets me from A to B. It's been lovely chatting with you this morning. Really enjoyed catching up. The vlog may be up on Sunday again next week. And yeah, we wish you all a good week, don't we, Joe?
Yeah.
Stick to plan, stay to group, and remember, works if you work it, it won't if you don't. Cheers, have a great week. Bye.